Well, I just got in from Washington, D.C. The old joke is, I guess, I just flew in from Washington, D.C. Boy, are my arms tired right now. But I got to tell you, I am a little tired. It's been a challenge out there, as you can imagine. Flew in late last night. So election years are a little strange anyway. This is the strangest of the strange. Now we add in a very important and significant thing, and frankly, something that this group needs to be talking about, which is a Supreme Court appointment, right? So I'll give you a little mental picture. By the way, who's been to Washington, D.C. and to the Capitol? This is awesome. Awesome. Way to go. So you've got a mental picture, right? So you're up on Capitol Hill, and right across, if you walk out the steps of the House of Representatives, or the House of Lords, as I like to call the other side of the building. By the way, we need a new member of the House of Lords from Michigan. Don't you agree on that one? I'm really looking forward to having a senator return my phone calls. And when John James is picking up that phone, this is going to be a very, very good thing. So we got to make sure John James is elected. But when you walk off those steps and you look across the plaza, there's a couple of buildings that are right in front of you. And to the south is the just beautiful Jefferson Building of the Library of Congress. And that's a very special place, beautiful spot. Just to the side of that, just to the north, is the U.S. Supreme Court. And that has been the site of some extremely important and monumental things in our country. And what they've had to do is they've had to actually block off the street. That's normally a usable street in between the Capitol and the Supreme Court and the Library of Congress. Well, it's all blocked off, and it is just a mass of people that are down there. And we have to look at this through that lens. This election through that lens. This isn't about one particular person or two particular people that are running for office. By the way, as a good Calvinist, I can be a Calvinist and an evangelical, but sometimes a little bit of a contradiction to some. But as a good Calvinist, I do know that man is depraved, sinful, fallen, and evil. And that includes everyone, right? Including our elected leaders who are flawed. So this isn't really just a simple question about a decision between two humans that are flawed. You have to look deeper. You have to look at what represents those people and the party that they represent and the platform and the importance of those things within that platform. And I can tell you, as we're up here doing the Pledge of Allegiance, keeping the words in under God in it, there was one party that excluded it in their convention, all right? Look at the platform to know where those people and those parties stand on life. That is what is happening right now in America, is we are having a very important, timely, and crucial discussion about life and what this means and what the Supreme Court's going to be doing. And we've seen a lot of discussion about the value of human life, right? But there seems to me there's been one group that has been sort of left out of this. That's the unborn. That's that potential life. And we've got to make sure that they are added into that discussion about justice and opportunity. So that's why I'm here. That's why I believe that Donald Trump is the right person to be president of the United States. And I've got a few friends, and we have... And I know not everybody agrees. And I know not even all people of faith agree. In fact, my opponent is a person of faith. He's a minister who is out there promoting Joe Biden. So my question to some of my other evangelical and faith-based friends is, please explain to me how you are going to vote for a Biden-Harris ticket, and don't use Donald Trump's name. Don't use his name to tell me why you're voting for Biden-Harris. Tell me why you're voting for Biden-Harris. And my first question back to them is, then where do you stand on life? And if you don't stand on life, right now, if you don't stand in the right spot on the issue of life right now, that says a lot about you. That says a lot about you. So I, for one, am supporting a party, and I'm supporting a president who has a track record of supporting life, who has a track record of supporting those of us in the faith community, who are trying to make sure that that voice in that public square is not getting drowned out. And guess what? We have a responsibility now. We have to show up, right? Don't we? We have to be there. And we all have friends, and we all have neighbors, and we all have people we maybe even go to church with who said, you know, politics just isn't my thing. I don't know. I really can't decide between the two, and, you know, the tweets make me a little uncomfortable. Well, there's a few other things that ought to make you uncomfortable. They're named Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. That's what ought to make you uncomfortable. So I'm glad you're here. I'm glad the faith community is standing up. And guess what? It's now our time. It's now our time to make sure that we show up and our voice is heard in that public square. Are you with me? Yes. Or wait a minute. Are you with me? Yes. That's what I like to hear. All right. So I'm so excited that Karen Pence is here. She and Mike are wonderful, wonderful people. I suppose I should call him the vice president. But he is actually Mike, and he's a real man. He's a real human. She's just an amazing lady herself. And I got to tell you, I got to know Mike Pence when I first came to the House of Representatives as a member. But I actually had gotten to know him a little bit before that when I was a staff guy for my predecessor, Peter Hoekstra. And Pete and Mike were a part of a Bible study. And they became very good friends. And I got to tell you, when I came to Washington, D.C., after I replaced Peter Hoekstra, one of the first people that came up to me, found me on the House floor, was Mike Pence. And there was kind of three people that I would go to, and I'd do a temperature check on what was going on. One of them was Tom Price. Tom Price is from Georgia, but originally from Michigan. Another evangelical, conservative, former head of the Republican Study Committee. The other person that I would go to was a guy named Jeb Hensarling. And Jeb ended up becoming not only chair of the Republican Study Committee, which is the conservative group, but he was also the chairman of our Financial Services Committee, which I served on. The third person that I would sit down with and do a temperature check with was Mike Pence. And Mike Pence had this wonderful way of describing things, where he would say, people of faith and people of good conservative conscience can come to a different conclusion. Let's just make sure they're going through the process, right? And here's what I love about Mike Pence. He not only knows what he believes, he knows why he believes it. And that's why it is crucial that we have people who know not only what to believe and what they believe, but why they believe it. And those of us in the faith community, it's time. It's time for us to stand up. It's time for us to make sure that our friends and our neighbors and all of those that are around us are coming to the polls or getting their absentee ballot in. And by the way, it started. They just went out this week. That's why we've been up on television. That's why we're doing our mail programs. That's why we're doing doors. That's why we're doing all those things. I see Rhett here who is representing the Trump campaign. I know Nancy DeBoer, our former mayor, is here. We've got our very good friend, State Senator Roger Victory, who is here. Brad Slaw is here, our state representative right there. We've got some phenomenal people in this area working hard, but we can't do it alone. We need you. You are the grassroots. This is the movement that the Republican Party, that Donald Trump, and that pro-life conservative evangelicals need to support. And I want to say thank you for being here. We couldn't do this alone. My wife, wonderful wife, Natalie, is here as well. I've never seen her more fired up about an election. This is... Maybe in 2000 with hanging chads, that got a little old there for a while. By the way, another important reason why we need to have a full contingency of the Supreme Court, right? We don't ever want to see a contested campaign go to the Supreme Court, but it has happened, and it's not only been in Bush v. Gore. So Thanks for being here, everybody. Let's make sure that we're going out, firing up the troops, making sure you're talking to everybody. And I'm just so glad that we've got another beautiful day that we can welcome Karen Pence here into West Michigan. So thanks for being here, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.